America's cities are slowly decaying, it seems like, over time as the homeless drug epidemic is overflowing major cities. I just saw a report on Portlanders being annoyed and sad about how their city is slowly declining and slowly getting worse and worse by the day. And there's some empathy in me that feels bad for them, but at the same light, you get what you vote for. I mean, this is what happens when people don't pay attention to news. This is what happens when people decide to put their head in a hole and decide, it's just too stressful for me to engage in culture and politics and the news that I am going to pretend like it doesn't exist. And therefore, it will make my life better off. And I'll just want good things for people like free education, free healthcare, free blah, 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 and not think about things like, or stuff like justice reform or criminal justice reform and stuff like that. These words are just thrown around that make people feel good on the inside, but the implications are very serious. And this is what happens when people don't pay attention, people don't care, and people don't want to engage. And there's like, I feel bad for all the losers are people that care about politics, news, and culture like you and me, because we see how it directly affects our lives. And here's a perfect example of something horrible that happened, but it's exactly due to the result of maybe people in the same church congregation and people that are voting for these people. Defund the police has implications in our lives, as well as the DAs that are voted in have massive implications. Yes, you might want to not have an entire generation or group of people that flood the prisons, but you also get this. New York City Minister robbed at gunpoint during live stream service in New York, which is incredibly sad and insane. He told CBS New York, "I didn't want my parishioners to get hurt. I got women and children there." Here's the video of it. It's literally insane. And I'll show a little bit. I don't know. Obviously YouTube allows it. So here we go.
How many of you have lost your faith because you saw somebody else die what you about to go through? Yo. All right. Yo, all right.
Everybody stay still. Nobody move.
And then he goes on to say, as I got down, one went to my wife and took all her jewelry and had a gun pointed in front of an 8-month-old baby's face. These criminals are insane. You're pointing a gun in an 8-month-old baby's face? Give me all your money, baby. I mean, and then he took off the bishop's ring, my wedding ring band, and took off my bishop's chain. And then I had chains underneath my robe that started tapping my neck to see if anything else. I mean, you've got to be not only crazy to rob a church, but morally bankrupt to rob a church that is supposed to be life-giving, giving people refuge and a place to escape in this crazy world. But it also shows the moral decay of our culture, where no F's given. Everybody, there's not a holy place. Truth is gone. God really say that constantly. Even in our own politics today, you see the White House redefining the word recession, because does recession really mean you fill in the blank? It's Putin's problem. But we're having a moral decline as we speak. And what's the answer? The answer is to vote some of these DAs out, these democratic, progressive leftists, as they promote this kind of stuff. They're more worried about January 6th committee and making sure we get down to the truth, as if they're not conspiracy theorists. And then you and I are living in major cities today, or cities across America, and we're watching this unfold. And the politicians are silent about it. Again, gun crimes, if they fit the narrative, they talk about it. But if something like this happens, they're silent. Why? Because it's inner city youth, but this is to be expected almost. It's like, well, just another day in Chicago, another day in New York. I'm not going to talk about it. And this shows the problem with our corporate media and politicians today. The real problems are not being talked about. And maybe even in churches today. The real problems aren't being talked enough or discussed enough, and people don't seem to care. And that's the problem. That's why I hate can't stand some of these liberals and modern leftists. The real problems, they talk about things like climate change, and then they walk into their private jets or buy a property on their private island or whatever. They talk about gun reform, but then in their own backyard, the stuff like this happens, and then they just blame another person, as opposed to saying, what could we really be doing to stop this sort of thing, or de-incentivize criminals to do this? As criminals do this kind of stuff, and then they get bailed out immediately. You reap what you sow in life, you get what you pay for, whatever you want to say. But this is depressing to me and sad to me that even these young men decide, I'm going to rob a church. If you don't think that's a problem, I don't know what to tell you, because that's a huge problem. These churches are seen as safe gardens, a place of refuge in times of hell on earth. And you and I need these types of places that we feel like we can come together and have conversations and escape the realities of the harshness of life. And yet, this is what happens when you don't preach the truth. The truth will come to your doorstep. You want to preach about good morning practices to have a successful day in your church. You get stuff like this. We need more leaders. We need more men to stand up against this type of stuff and start speaking out, because it takes you and me to do so. Quit relying on other people and get into the fight yourself. That's my encouragement to you. I hope you do. I hope you start to speak up more. And I'm not talking about Facebook. I'm talking about getting together with groups to help make a change in these cities. I know it's very popular among a lot of conservatives saying to get out of the cities. But if you're a Christian, if you want to make a difference in other people's lives, that's our call, to press into the cities and actually make a difference in other people's lives, not run and kowtow away. Why? Because you have the truth. You have the answers. You have what you could help another person. You believe you can help the world. And we need more people that are willing to engage rather than run away and hide and get in your safe communities. And I can understand the feelings of wanting to do that, because fear is very, very powerful. But let me know your thoughts on this. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you want to support my show, you can always go to buymeacoffee.com/Dario Shea Show. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to have one more recording coming up. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.